Kira lay on the cool grass, chest rising and falling with slow, tired breaths. The night above him shimmered with faint silver light. High in the sky, the moon phoenix soared silently, its wings glowing dimly like an ember in the night, a moving moon casting light over the wounded forest below. Kira's eyes followed the creature's slow arc across the sky, its feathers leaving glimmering trails like falling stars. He wasn't sure how long he'd been lying there, only that the world felt quiet now. Still, soft footsteps rustled nearby, and then a gentle presence settled beside him. "That was amazing," said Princess Rania, her voice low and calm, touched by wonder. "I never imagined that you had all this power." Kira exhaled, a faint smile flickering at the corner of his lips. "Me neither." She tilted her head slightly. "What do you mean?" He kept his gaze fixed on the sky. "I'm still trying to understand it. This power, it's wild. Sometimes it feels like it's mine, and other times, like I'm just holding on to it for dear life." His voice lowered. "I'm sorry about your parents. I couldn't." But Rania reached out and gently interrupted, her tone firm but soft. "You saved my life, Kira. If you hadn't leapt in front of that dragon's fire, I'd be ashes now. You're hurt because of me." He turned his head slightly toward her, but she was already looking at him, emerald eyes steady. "Why do you look so sad?" she asked, her lips curling into a teasing smile. "This has never happened before, you know. I, Princess Rania, just confessed to you, Mr. Nobody, that you saved my life. You should be proud." Gloating, even. A chuckle escaped him, quiet, but real. "I'm just glad you're okay," he said, voice gentle, words full of meaning. Rania's smile softened. She leaned back beside him, both now staring at the moon phoenix as it glided silently across the darkened sky. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" she said, awe dancing in her voice. "It is," Kira replied, then hesitated. "But the strange thing is, I can't feel it." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "All the animals here in the ancestors' forest. I can sense them, like there's this thread connecting me to them. Wolves, birds, even the smallest insects. It's like they're part of me." He paused, eyes narrowing slightly. "But that phoenix, even now when I'm staring right at it, I feel nothing. No connection, no bond. It's like it's not part of this world." Rania looked up again, her brows furrowed as she watched the distant creature shimmer like a ghost above them. "Do you think it's not from here?" "I don't know," Kira whispered, "but something about it feels ancient, lonely, like it's watching us, but it doesn't belong." The moon phoenix let out a silent cry then, one that echoed through the forest. Not in sound, but in light, washing over the trees like silver rain. Rania and Kira both fell silent, the strange creature casting its soft glow upon them. Suddenly, the moon phoenix dove. A streak of silver fire blazed across the sky as the great bird descended. Swift as a thought, silent as death. In the blink of an eye, it was upon them. Before Kira could react, talons wrapped around his body like chains of light. "Wah?" he gasped. "What are you doing? Put me down." But the phoenix didn't respond. It soared upward, wings cutting through clouds, wind howling past Kira's ears as the earth fell away beneath them. "Hey, I said put me down," Kira shouted, struggling in its grip. But the forest, the princess, the world below, all vanished behind the rushing wind and starlight. The moon phoenix climbed higher and higher until it reached a mountain unlike any Kira had ever seen. It loomed above the clouds, its summit hollowed into a crater like the mouth of a sleeping giant. Without hesitation, the phoenix released him. Kira plummeted. His scream echoed off the mountain walls as he fell into its heart. The air grew colder, heavier. Light disappeared. Shadows devoured everything until finally he hit solid rock. The pain shot through his body like lightning. He groaned, rolling onto his side. Everything was black, save for the distant silver moonlight pouring in from the mountaintop far above. And then, a voice. It was soft, beautiful even, feminine, echoing through the darkness like wind through leaves. "Who are you, Kira?" He froze. What? He scrambled to his feet, heart pounding, eyes darting around. But there was nothing, just endless shadow. The voice returned, this time closer. What do you want? What are your goals in life? Why did you wake me from my eternal sleep? I didn't mean to, Kira answered, breath unsteady. I just wanted to protect everyone. A sudden shift in tone, like the voice sharpened, coiled with anger. Protect everyone? Do you think you can protect everyone? Do you trust yourself to this extent? The words echoed, each syllable like a stone dropped into a still lake. The silence that followed was heavier than any wound. Kira lowered his head. What do you want from me? Why are you asking all these questions? The voice answered, colder this time, disdainful. Tell me, Kira, do you think you can order me around? Do you think you're that special? Then silence, a breathless, deafening pause. And suddenly the moon phoenix stood before him. It hadn't flown. It hadn't landed. It was simply there. Its silver light filled the crater, so bright Kira had to shield his eyes. You think you're more special than me? The phoenix asked, not with a voice, but a presence that roared through Kira's mind. He turned his head away, the glow too much to bear. I think, he began, voice trembling. I think I'm special enough to protect my family. The phoenix's light pulsed. It flared like a star ready to collapse. Then show me how special you are. A crackling sound cut through the air, raw, sharp. Kira barely saw the movement before pain tore through him. A flash of silver. A strike too fast for thought. Claws raked across his chest, slicing through flesh and muscle like paper. The blow sent him flying, crashing hard against the stone. He screamed. Blood poured down his torso. He stared in disbelief at the wound, deep, glowing with pain. His breath caught in his throat. Nothing had hurt him like this since he merged with Gara. The phoenix hovered, unmoved. Why are you surprised? It said. Did you believe your body was stronger than my claws? How naive. Kira coughed, trying to rise. But before he could move, the phoenix struck again. It vanished, then reappeared, too fast to follow. A second blow slashed across his shoulder, spinning him midair. He hit the ground hard, gasping, blood staining the stone. The wound was deeper this time. He could feel it reaching his bones. He grit his teeth, shaking from the pain, but his eyes locked onto the phoenix now with something burning beneath the fear. Resolve. Kira's spiritual energy flared. Faint at first, like embers reigniting, then glowing brighter with each heartbeat. His wounds began to seal, flesh stitching together with strands of luminous blue-white light. Rune-like markings shimmered on his skin as the power of Gara surged within him. The phoenix tilted its head. Then it laughed. A rich, feminine sound laced with mockery. Your meager healing power will be of no use against me, she said, her silver eyes gleaming with contempt. Crack, crack, crack. That sound again. Air tearing itself apart. The moon phoenix took off, a silver blur streaking across the darkness. Kira's eyes widened. He couldn't track her. He clenched his fists. Time around him warped, distorted like heat rising off stone. He poured everything into it, every last drop of spiritual energy. Time slowed down. The world around him crawled, like syrup through air. The phoenix was still fast, but Kira could see. Just barely. His feet moved before he thought. He dodged the deadly claws, slipping between them, his breath ragged. Silver talons grazed past his face. A feather sliced the air beside his throat like a blade. He pushed harder. His speed surged, his body screamed. The glowing energy rippling from him sharpened, condensing into a blade that wobbled and warped like a living flame, wrapped around his hands like coiled lightning. The phoenix twisted midair, talons and beak slashing from all directions. Kira danced on instinct, driven by desperation. He flipped, rolled, and ducked beneath strikes that would have torn lesser beings apart. Then an opening. The bird turned sharply, preparing to dive. The wind howled. Kira ran, backwards, heart hammering, muscles screaming. Now, he jumped, twisting midair. The phoenix's beak lunged forward, missing by inches. Kira spun around, his spiritual blade slashing wide with every ounce of strength he had left. A clean cut, a flash of silver light. The phoenix was split in two. Silence. Kira landed hard, rolling across the stone. He lay there panting, blood mixing with sweat, every breath burning in his lungs. Slowly he looked up. The two halves of the bird floated, frozen in the air like shattered glass held by invisible threads. Then, a soft, amused laugh. "Well done, Kira," the phoenix said. The voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. "Is this what you wanted to hear from me?" Kira slowly stood, pain still tightening his limbs. His eyes narrowed, but the phoenix's voice turned sharp, cold. "Unfortunately, I will only tell you this. You have disappointed me." A pause, then rage. "Is this the most you can do? All that effort, just to strike a specter once?" Before Kira could react, the frozen halves began to change. Each half twisted, bones cracking, feathers evaporating, until both formed into him. Kira stared in disbelief. Two exact replicas. Same hair, same clothes, same glowing markings. Even their energy felt identical. The shadows shifted, and from the darkness, the moon phoenix emerged again. Larger than before, wings brushing the edges of the crater. It screamed, a sound of primal fury, and charged once more. Kira turned, trying to dodge, only to feel something sharp pierce his back. He gasped. A blade, his spiritual energy blade, driven into his spine by one of the copies. He screamed, stumbling forward. The pain was blinding. He spun, slashing wildly, but the clone only smiled and calmly stepped out of reach. Watching him, mirroring him, the clone moved in perfect slow motion, as if existing in the same time distortion Kira had created. The second copy stepped forward, energy crackling in its palm. "They're me," Kira realized. "My speed, my strength, my instincts." And now he was outnumbered. Two perfect mirrors. And the wrath of the moon phoenix. Kira stood alone, breathing hard, blood running down his back. Kira didn't have time to breathe, let alone heal. His wounds still burned, his body aching, but he had no choice. Every ounce of focus was locked on surviving. The moon phoenix struck again, a blur of silver fury, while his two copies moved like ghosts, slipping between moments, appearing when he least expected. Kira's spiritual energy flared to its limits. Bright, volatile, sparking off his skin like fire licking at the wind. He pushed forward, eyes locked on the giant phoenix. "If I take her down, maybe the copies will vanish." His speed surged, faster than before, sharper. He ducked, rolled, dodged. Claws missed him by inches. But every time he neared the phoenix, one of his doubles would appear. A blade flashing, a strike from behind, a step ahead of him always. They could slow time too. They moved just like him. He couldn't beat them by force. Not like this. But there was something they couldn't steal. Instinct, intuition, strategy. They copied what he was, not what he could become. Kira narrowed his eyes. Then he began to change. He moved unpredictably, faking left, twisting right, launching strikes that weren't meant to land. Every dodge, every spin, every motion had misdirection behind it. And for the first time, his copies faltered. One step too early. The other hesitated. They're confused. Kira grinned, blood trailing from the corner of his mouth. He whipped around, turning a strike toward one of the clones. His spiritual energy blade flared, unstable, jagged, humming with power. The clone's eyes widened, bracing for impact. But just before the strike connected, Kira clenched his fist. The blade vanished. He shifted, his body twisted mid-motion, and with a roar, he brought his fist down in an overhead arc, summoning the full force of his spiritual energy into a new blade. A single, devastating strike. The blade crashed into the moon phoenix just as it descended from above, beak open, talons wide. There was a flash, a thunderclap of impact, and the phoenix screamed. The force sent ripples through the air, scattering the clones backward. Kira landed hard, breathing ragged, staring up at the fading silver light. He'd finally hit her. But Kira stood frozen, eyes wide in disbelief. The moon phoenix vanished in a shimmer of silver light, only to be replaced by two more versions of himself. Now there were four. A voice echoed through the void, laced with cold amusement. "You're really a slow learner, aren't you? Do something. This is getting boring. Or I'm afraid I'll have to kill you." Before Kira could move, another presence stirred behind the doppelgangers. A massive shadow stretched across the crater. Another giant phoenix rose from the darkness, wings spread wide, glowing with power. Its cry split the air like thunder. Then they charged. For copies. One phoenix, all rushing toward him in perfect sync. Kira barely managed to dodge, his body moving on instinct, spiritual energy flaring wildly as he weaved between blades and talons. But it wasn't enough. A slash tore across his ribs. A punch crushed into his shoulder. A wing clipped him mid-dodge, sending him skidding across the stone. More wounds opened, deep, raw. His blood flowed freely, painting his body red. He couldn't keep up. His speed, his power, it wasn't enough. Then, a voice. "Still yourself." Gaara's voice echoed in his mind. "You're wasting movement. Stop chasing power. Feel it." Kira gasped, vision swimming. And suddenly he saw a memory. Gaara standing tall, one step forward, spine straight, shoulders relaxed, hands open, one lifted, one low, balanced, centered, no tension, no waste, only purpose. His fingers moved slowly, tracing the flow of invisible energy through the air. He wasn't bracing. He was listening. Precision, simplicity, purpose. Breathe. Now match it. Kira's breath slowed. He planted his feet, dropped into the stance. The chaos dulled. His heartbeat quieted. His senses sharpened. Good. Now a move. The chaos around him began to quiet. A strange stillness settled in his mind. His senses expanded. He could feel them. Every presence. Every heartbeat. He didn't need to see. He knew. Their movements. Their angles. Even their intent. He could see flickers, phantoms, of their future attacks, like echoes bending toward him. Specters of their future movements as they slowly followed them toward him. They struck, and Kira moved. With barely a motion, he deflected a blade, sidestepped a punch, redirected a talon into the ground with a twist of his wrist. His limbs flowed like water, efficient and sharp. One of the clones lunged, and Kira caught it before the strike even launched. Meanwhile, as he started relying on his feelings and his sense of everyone around him, he felt a strange energy emanating from the top of the mountain. Kira smiled, then turned calmly. "Yes, I am indeed a slow learner," he said, voice low. "But don't worry, I understand now." Time nearly stopped. In a blur, he spun and hurled the clone into the charging phoenix, smashing them both into the air in a whirlwind of energy. Another clone rushed from the side. He stepped past it, letting it overextend, then drove his fist into the throat of the fifth. Crack. The echo of impact shook the mountain. The clone crumpled. Kira stood tall, his chest heaving, blood and light dripping from his body. Then slowly he looked up. The full moon loomed above the opening of the mountain, huge, radiant, watching. Kira's legs tensed. Power surged. The ground beneath him shattered, launching stone into the air. His body burned with blue fire as he leapt, a living comet roaring through the sky. His fist glowed white-hot, trailing embers as it cut through the night like a blade. To his surprise, the moon wasn't that far away. It was just above the mountain as it took the full impact of the hit. The phoenix screamed in pain as cracks appeared on the surface of the moon before it exploded, sending Kira and the phoenix, who emerged from inside the fallen moon, rolling down the mountain until they landed on the ground below. Kira stood amid the crater, blood and blue light still flickering across his form, a faint smile curling his lips. Dust slowly settled around him until a shadow loomed ahead once more. The phoenix emerged from the fading illusion, wings stretching wide against the moonlight's shattered remnants. It stared at Kira with piercing eyes and gave a low, rumbling laugh. "It took you long enough," it said. "Anyway, playtime is over." With a thunderous beat of its wings, the phoenix launched a blast of wind toward Kira. The gust howled through the battlefield, uprooting what little remained of the trees and flinging debris like blades. But Kira didn't move. He stood tall, feet planted firmly, eyes locked on the creature, unshaken, then cold. Flakes of frost began to gather on his skin. The wind, once dry and wild, turned chilling and sharp. Kira narrowed his eyes. The air itself was freezing. Above, the phoenix rose higher, wings glowing with elemental power. The gusts grew fiercer, colder, biting winds infused with ancient magic. And the world began to freeze. Ice swept across the land in seconds, swallowing stone, soil, and shattered tree. Giant trunks cracked like brittle glass, splintering into frozen shards. The crater became a frozen mountain range, glittering under the broken sky. Kira stood at its heart, an ice statue, encased in thick crystal. Still, but not gone. Inside the freezing prison, a soft golden glow pulsed from Kira's core. He closed his eyes and focused, his healing power awakening. The blood in his veins surged with warmth. Wounds sealed, pain faded, and then, crack, from within the ice Kira smiled. Boom! The glacier burst outward as Kira stepped free, shards exploding around him in every direction. Each step forward shattered more of the icy tomb clinging to his limbs. Steam hissed off his body, the clash of warmth and cold sparking tiny lightning trails in the air. The phoenix watched and continued. "Do you know why I'm special, Kira?" it said, voice rising above the roaring winds. Throughout the ages, all legendary and magical beings focused their power on a single element of nature. The blizzard intensified. Kira narrowed his eyes, but before he could react, the snowstorm warped. The very ice around him began to shimmer, to melt, but not with heat. It was shifting, transforming. Suddenly, the frozen peaks collapsed into a flood. A massive whirlpool of churning water formed around Kira, sucking him in with terrifying force. In seconds, he was trapped at its center, spinning violently as a towering water tornado rose to the sky. The phoenix's voice echoed through the maelstrom. "But not me. I am the only being who wields the power of two elements, wind and water, together." Then the worst began. The droplets swirling in the tornado solidified into deadly shards. Ice arrows, razor-sharp and countless. They struck. Thud, thud, thud. Each one buried deep into Kira's flesh. He screamed, his voice swallowed by the storm, as his body trembled violently. The pain was unbearable. He could feel the cold inside him now, creeping into his bones, his breath turning to frost in his lungs. His vision blurred. His knees nearly buckled. But through it all, the phoenix's words kept echoing in his mind. Special. Elements of nature. Wind and water. Meanwhile, deep within the forest core, Kira's hidden temple stirred. The ancient chamber, forged by him and his father to seal away his uncontrollable powers, began to tremble with life. The four elemental gates lining its walls pulsed with radiant energy: earth, fire, water, air. Then, a crack split the silence. The gate of water flared open. The gate of air followed, blasting wind through the temple like a cyclone. For the first time, Kira had opened them to their fullest extent. What once had been sealed was now unleashed.